I'm ready.
Okay. Good evening, Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our preseason high school football show. Paul Wright with Pulaski County Coach Johnny Hines. We're at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South Highway 27. Come and join us. How many years have we done this now?
I'll tell you what, Paul, it's been a long time. We started this, done a good job. And then you add to that, Jacob Wilburn's back with us. He played his freshman year. Missed out his sophomore year. He's back as a junior. As a lineman, Connor Lanner, I hadn't mentioned yet, Connor can play center or guard and has even got some work at defensive at the nose tackle position as well. So he can get a lot of things done on the offensive line. Christopher James is back as a junior. So there's a lot of guys there. You notice we didn't mention many seniors.
Right. Oh, no.
Hunter
no,
Mason kind of
right.
leads the way in the age category there. But so it's a young group, but as we kind of finalize and define our roles better, I think that group's going to be good down the road.
The offensive line, I think you need more continuity there maybe than any other group on the field with working together. How do you do that and build depth with a bunch this young?
Well, you do it when you have a good spring practice and you have a good summer.
Thanks a lot.
We didn't get to do that. So, we're still in an evaluation phase, if you will, and a lot of things we're going to learn very early on in these first couple of games that'll help our team down the road. But a lot of guys are going to be on the field. A lot of guys are going to see action, and we're just going to see who kind of performs better than some of the other guys, and then we'll eventually have the best five. But you're right, it does take a lot longer for that offensive line to gel.
Right. All right, let's go receivers.
Well, it all starts and ends with Jake Shepard. He's a senior wide receiver. He started at wide receiver since his sophomore year, and he's an outstanding route runner. Catches the ball well, so he's going to see a lot of balls coming his way, and so we're excited about him. On the other side, we've got a good battle going with two young guys in Chandler Godby, a young sophomore who's one of the smallest players on the team but plays with a big heart.
Right.
Bryson Duggar is a guy that's really a quarterback by trade, but he's a really good athlete, and we've begun to play him some at wide receiver. Runs well, catches the ball well. So those two guys are kind of battling for that wide receiver spot, and both doing a good job. Looking forward to seeing those guys get on the field. A tight end position, we've got a couple guys that are playing well. Braden Gibson, you'll remember, took over for an injured Grant Oaks last year. So he's back. He's a junior, doing a good job. Antonio Palmer, also a junior who's new to us, hasn't played since middle school. And he's doing a good job at that tight end position. So we've got some flexibility there with two tight ends we can utilize. And then the young guys behind him, we got a guy, Jackson McCullum, Anthony's daddy. Sorry about that, Jackson. But we've already got to calling him Gronk. He's a big, strong tight end, a freshman, catches the ball well, and he's hard to knock down. He's a tough kid. He's going to do a good job there and see some action there at that position. Spencer Allen's another freshman tight end that's coming along doing well. Adam Murphy's a tight end that's been with us a couple of years. He's going to be a junior. So there's some depth at that position as those guys continue to get a little bit better. And then on the outside, there's a whole bunch of young guys that are really showing a lot of promise. Guys like freshman Harris Denmeyer, sophomore Casey Bussell, freshman Damian Ramirez, freshman Landon Brown, freshman Xander Simpson, freshman Braden Ping. All of these guys really run well, catch the ball well. They're tough to bring down, and they're really doing a good job. Andrew Dotson is another one that's out there. Caden Dick, Caden Richardson. All of these guys are skilled players on the – well, the running back spot, we got a guy back. You remember Donovan Abbott last year as a freshman. Worked his way into the starting lineup about game 5 and had an injury that kind of slowed him, and he was kind of in and out the rest of the season with some minor injuries, some nagging injuries. And he's certainly healthy and gotten a lot bigger and stronger this year. He runs well. Donovan's a complete back. He really is. He can run the ball. He can run inside. He can run outside. He does a great job in pass protection. And probably the best thing he does is catch the ball out of the backfield. He's hard to cover coming out of the backfield, and when he catches the ball, he's tough to bring down. He's a really nice feature running back there as well. The other side, we've got a very pleasant surprise for everybody. Barrick Williams is back with us, didn't play as a freshman, played through middle school, and has come back out as a sophomore. He's a very explosive playmaker.
When I talk to some of your coaches, that's the first name they bring up.
He's got potential to be really, really something special. in the game of football. A very good athlete, obviously a good
Right.
basketball player.
Right.
All our fans have seen him play basketball and on the hardwood. He's a good player. But he's a tremendous football player as well. He's about 190 pounds and 6'1" or so, and can run. He catches a ball well. He can run the ball as a running back, and he can do a little bit of everything. So don't be shocked when you see a ball in his hands on game night. And, again, behind those guys there's youth, but there's some sparks back there. Of course, Tristan Cox I haven't mentioned, but obviously Tristan can play every skill
Sure.
position. You'll see him running the ball. You'll see him catching the ball. You'll see him doing everything you can do on the offensive side, so certainly don't want to leave that out. But the youth behind him, guys like Trey Hornsby, who's a freshman running back that can do a lot of good stuff. Trenton Gibson has been a very pleasant surprise as a freshman. Juan Utrera is another one. All these guys playing very, very well in the reps that they've had. And don't forget Caleb Adams is another guy we used last year that we can plug in
Right.
as a slot receiver. He can play running back and can do a lot of things as well. So, again, we just got to find out who fits into what role. We're a little behind the eight ball, as I said, because missing spring practice.
Right.
Typically, Paul, going into the first game of the season, we would have between 20 and 23 practice sessions
Right.
before the first game. We've had 15,
Right.
and not all of those in pads. So, we're kind of behind where we need to be, but so's everybody else. So, we're going to get after it and see what happens.
Let's talk about the trigger puller. We haven't got to him yet.
Well, we're glad to have him back. I'll tell you that. Tiger Poston was having an absolutely spectacular season last year when he went down with an injury. Had shoulder surgery, and he's worked hard in the offseason. He's back healthy. He's 100%. He's throwing the ball all over the field, doing a great job at the quarterback position. He's also a good runner. He's got speed. He's a big, strong kid and runs hard. So he's a true threat at that quarterback position. He just seems to be so much more in control, so much smoother, so much more confident in what he's doing, running the offense. There's no way he's not going to have a fantastic season at quarterback. He's really not. I mentioned Bryson Duggar already as a wide receiver.
Right.
Bryson's really the backup guy, and I tell you what, he's impressive too. Our quarterback position is very strong. Bryson looks really, really good in the early going, and we've got a freshman named Jalen Wooldridge that has impressed everybody. He's put the wow on everybody out there, so we're excited about those guys. We've still got a guy as an emergency quarterback named Brady Kane, who had an older brother everybody remembers, who was pretty daggone good as a quarterback. Caleb Adams, of course, can play quarterback, played last season there. And you'll see Tristan Cox take snaps too. Tristan's our Wildcat guy.
You've been known to do that.
And he'll do it. He'll line up at quarterback, and so all of those guys will be in that slot at some point.
Offensively, it's just a matter of putting the pieces together and seeing where everything fits.
It is, and we got to develop some consistency quickly on the field. I think we're going to be able to hit some good plays. I look for us to have good plays and bad plays, good plays and bad plays. And so the quicker we can iron out those bad plays and be consistently good plays, driving the ball down the field, and we'll become a good offense. I don't know when that's going to happen. It needs to happen quick, but I think we can get there.
With the limited practices, have you put everything in you're going to?
Close. That's probably always a no when you ask that question. There's always things that are going to be installed a little bit later on and things to come. But we've got the bulk of our system in, and it helps to have experience at the quarterback position, obviously, for that. So we feel good about at least going into the first couple of games and see where we are and kind of reevaluate. And there'll be some things we'll add as we get on down the line. But I think we're as ready as any other team in the state that's practiced 3 weeks.
Flipping the charts, let's go defense. And you use that 3-4 alignment, let's go up front. That's where it starts.
Well, it does start up front, and the thing about our defensive line, we're small for defensive line.
I have noticed that.
But we move well, and that's a plus. And I think Coach Sharp has done a great job putting this scheme and this defense up together so that using our movement up front is going to be a big plus. Right now, going into the first game, we still got guys battling for playing time. Obviously got good competition there, but we're going to start it off. We've moved Aiden Wesley down to nose tackle.
Right.
He was a defensive end. Aiden's done a great job. Probably had the best week of practice this past week that he's had in his life.
Good.
And really proud of him and the way he's coming along. Ryan Dye's returning starter at defensive end on one side. On the other side, the guy that's kind of surprised everybody and claimed a spot is Levi Belcher. He's a first-year player as a senior. He's a good-sized kid. He's strong. He's very coachable, very aggressive, and just wants to play, wants to make a contribution, and he's sure doing it. Doing a really good job. Carter Kring is another guy. He's back as a junior. Carter's doing a good job. He can play nose. He can play defensive end, both. Taylor Robbins is a sophomore defensive end that shows a lot of promise. He's going to be on the field a lot. Connor Landers, another guy's getting some reps at nose tackle. I mentioned him earlier on the offensive side. And then you got all these freshmen, which we're excited about, as I mentioned before. So we've got to find which is the best side of the ball for them. Bryson Brown can play on the defensive side. Tyler Johnson's really been coming on the last couple of weeks as a defensive lineman. Dylan Elliott. A lot of folks know Mr. Elliott at the high school has been teaching science for a long time. This is his son Dylan, and he's doing a really good job. He's going to be a terrific lineman down the road. Jay Bales, I mentioned as well. Jay's a little on the small side, but he plays tough. Hard-nosed guy. Braxton Burton the same way. Levi Heist, Spencer Allen, all those guys, Mason Hall, all those guys will be playing on the defensive line in that younger group and really have done a great job.
In a 3-4, the tackles ideally are made by the linebackers. And you've got a couple back and a couple you've moved around a little bit.
Well, we've shuffled some. Of course, it all revolves around Tristan Cox at the inside linebacker position. I think he's the best player in the state of Kentucky, and his only disadvantage is he plays on the Rodney Dangerfield team that nobody wants to give him respect to, so they don't respect him enough. But what a great player. The Purdue commit, he'll be back in the middle. Leighton Abbott has kind of claimed a spot on the other side. Leighton played a lot last year. He'll be a junior, and also pushing Leighton for a lot of playing time is Michael Kraft, who's also a junior. Michael didn't play until this year. He played through middle school, and then so he's back in football, so he's a little behind because of that. But he's doing a good job. He's a very aggressive guy. Look for him to be on the field. James New, also a junior, has really had a great camp. He played last year as a sophomore, first time he had played high school football, and he's come a long, long way. And so all four of those guys are doing a really good job. Behind them, we've got freshmen. I call him Gronk, but he might be a linebacker down the road. McCullum, he's a tough guy. He plays that inside linebacker spot. Caden Abnett is a smallish, tough, hard-nosed inside linebacker. Juan Utrera can play it as well. And Stephen Whitaker is another small inside linebacker. Noah Hayes is a sophomore that's with us for the first time. So there's some young depth there as those guys learn how to play that position. They're coming along on the outside. For us, the outside linebackers are guys that are playmakers.
Right.
They've got to be playmakers. And when you see guys like Zach Huff and some of the things that he can do, you start to understand that. Zach's one of those guys, if you looked at when he walked through here just a minute ago, you look at him, you think, that kid can't play high school football. He's too little. He's one of those. He's too little. He's too this. He's too whatever. But Zach thinks he's big, and he plays big and does a great job. And he'll play that outside linebacker spot. He's a playmaker. We moved Jericho Dixon to an outside linebacker, played safety.
You and I talked about
the
that
last 2 years. Jericho will be a junior. Jericho's doing a good job on the outside linebacker spot and kind of adapted to it really quickly. Christian Slavy's another guy. We moved to that spot as an outside linebacker. He'll be a junior, and he's doing a really good job as well. You'll see him on the field a lot. Behind those guys, Willie Nelson's a senior that played inside linebacker. We've moved him out. Willie's been slowed this summer. He's got a bit of a stomach issue. He's had some sickness, and they're trying to figure out exactly. He's got an issue with the stomach, and bless his heart, he hadn't been able to practice a whole lot, so we'll get him back real soon. But we've worked Willie as an outside linebacker. He'll be a senior, and Willie can make plays. So some young guys behind him. Trey Hornsby I've already talked about. Trey's got a nose for the ball, likes to hit people. Connor Haste is a sophomore that didn't play last year, has come back out. He's a very aggressive, hard-nosed player. Kai Witt's a sophomore on that outside as well. So youth that's, it's exciting to see those guys as they grow and develop and see what they're going to become.
I'm Paul Wright with Pulaski County Coach Johnny Hines. We're at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South Highway 27. We'll be here another hour and a half or so because when we're finished, Robbie Lucas will step in, the Somerset Briar Jumpers. Of course, earlier we had Southwestern coach Jason Foley. You talked about being small up front, and your linebackers aren't really that small except when you compare them to what you've had the last couple of years with a Connor Hargis and a Chase Parmalee, and the front seven is just smaller.
It is, and it's reminiscent of the front we had back in 13, 14, somewhere in there. We had some really nice teams, obviously, but we had at one time back in that run, the front seven guys all were linebackers when they came into the program, and so we had moved guys down, smaller, quicker guys, and so that's kind of what we're working on here. Obviously, none of those defensive linemen that I mentioned really look like defensive linemen, but they do a good job because of their movement and quickness and their ability to play good technique. So that's where it all starts. We got to do a good job there, and if those guys do a good job, then obviously the linebackers are going to be able to play well. And as you said, in a 3-4 scheme like we play, we expect those 4 linebackers to make plays. The inside guys are supposed to make tackles. The outside linebackers make sacks and cause fumbles and do all that stuff that offensive coaches pull their hair out over. So that's what we got to be able to get done.
And we talked about the teams that spread the field, and most everybody, Belfry won't, we'll get into that later, but most everybody spreads the field, and having Dixon, who has been in the secondary for a couple of years, having him at linebacker has to help, doesn't it?
Well, I think so. You know, it does. And as we talked earlier, strong safety to weak side linebacker, they're really pretty similar positions. They really are. There's a little difference when you make that move to linebacker at that spot. But he's going to be playing in space a lot, as you said. But he gives us an option as a blitzer that really we haven't had in a while. Okay. As an edge blitzer, that's something that's really exciting, what he can bring to the table with that. So that's something to watch in the coming games is how he can become a playmaker coming off the edge.
Let's go to that secondary.
Secondary's young. Actually, it's not. We got 2 seniors.
Right.
2 seniors at cornerback, guys that have played a lot before. Caleb Adams is back. Of course, he's been a starter for us at cornerback every game last year. Did a great job. He's a punt return guy. And I mentioned him on offense as well. Caleb can do a lot of things. At the other cornerback is Evan Cherry, who's a guy we kind of bounced around the last few years.
Yes.
Really did a good job in the secondary. Played some running back and did a good job there as well. He settled in at cornerback. He's had a really good summer camp. Really good, I call it camp. It's been 3 weeks, but he's had a really good 3 weeks of practice. He's getting the idea, playing really well there. You know, these are guys that would have benefited from spring practice, obviously.
Sure.
So
obviously.
That's what we're missing. But youth everywhere else. The safety position, we're looking at pick a sophomore. You know, and I'm proud of them. They're doing a good job. But Cody Nichols has done a good job. He's kind of claimed a strong safety position. Cody's a hitter, wants to come downhill and rock you. And he goes, you know, in that old school type safety position that'll really bust somebody. Does a good job with that, but he does a good job in pass coverage as well. And he's learning. These guys are learning. They're young and they're learning every day, but they're good athletes and they're aggressive, and that's what we like about them. Cody's looking at strong safety position. Kate Sullivan, who's with us for the first time, was with us all through middle school and then went to Southwestern last year. He's back, doing a good job. He's going to be playing the free safety position. I mentioned Barrick. We talked about Barrick Williams. Right. He can play safety as well, so he'll see action in the secondary. Brady Kane is probably showing as good as a safety as he's done anything else. He's a really nice defensive back and can probably play corner if we needed him to, and that's on down the road. But those guys are all getting safety reps right now. Behind them, guys like Caden Emerson, who'll be a junior, has been with us for a while. Skylar Sharp, also a junior. They're going to get some quality reps. And then it's youth. You know, some of these guys I mentioned, Xander Simpson, Landon Brown, Gus Cornelia even. And I know I didn't say that right, Gus. I'm sorry. Cornigio. I never say his name right. You think I would learn his name, Gus. I'm sorry. We call him Gus. But, all these guys are going to see JV reps and things on the corner position on the edge. Casey Bussell. Casey's a new guy that came with us this year, transferred from Lincoln County. He's a sophomore. Does a good job. Harris Denmeyer, Braden Ping, Damian Ramirez, Caleb Dick, all those guys are really doing a good job learning the position and showing a lot of spark. Some of these guys are really nice athletes, and they're doing a good job as freshmen. And they're the type guys that as they progress through our program and in the weight program, get bigger and stronger, that by the time they get to be sophomores and juniors, you kind of look around and say, holy cow, where did that guy come from? And I think we've got that kind of young potential. So we're really excited about those guys.
The only thing I want to talk about this summer that's been different, how have you conducted the weightlifting? How's the conditioning and how's that gone?
It's been very, very hard. It's the summer of COVID, and we've just had different things that we've never dealt with before. We got to deal with. We got to take every kid's temperature. We got to be socially distanced. We got to do all those things that they've handed down to us. We got to rotate them in a certain direction and all those sorts of things. Only so many in the weight room at a time, and everybody else is outside socially distanced. So it's been one hurdle after another, but I'm really proud of our team because they've been excited about it regardless of what the hurdle is we have to tackle. They're ready to do it. They'll do whatever they got to do. And okay, guys, here's what we got to do. This is new. Okay, here's how we're going to do it. Let's do it. And that's the attitude they've had, and I'm proud of them for that. They show up every day and work hard, and our coaches show up every day and work hard with the same kind of attitude. Our booster parents in the same way. I tell you what, I'm really proud of our school administration, Mr. Richardson and everybody at central office, and Mr. Mack, principal, and Coach Miller, our athletic director. Those guys, you know, I'll just be honest with you, Paul, and don't mean to offend anybody, and I'm certainly not talking political.
Right.
But the fact, I believe, my opinion,
right,
the bureaucrats in Frankfort didn't want high school sports to happen.
Still don't.
And they looked for other people to shut it down, and it's worked its way to happening. And they're now putting so many ridiculous guidelines to follow that I think their hope is that each local school district will say it's too much, we can't figure it, shut down. And thank goodness our superintendent, our principal, our AD, everybody down the line, our booster parents, they just don't give up. They're not going to give up. They're going to fight. We're going to do what it takes. We're going to do it right. We're going to do it safe. We're going to do what it takes to get our kids back on the field. And I love them for that. They inspire me.
All right, let's talk about your coaching staff.
Really proud of those guys. What they do is just, they don't get paid enough. Everybody knows that. But, boy, I'm so proud of them and what they're doing. We've got a good mesh, and everybody doing a great job so far. We'll start on the defensive side. Coach Bill Sharp, of course, joined us last year as a defensive line coach. He's now a defensive coordinator and has done just a superb job taking over that defense. He's kind of put his own little twist on it.
Sure.
Everybody remembers Coach Sharp. He was the head coach at Russell County for
a long time.
I think 15, 16 years, and was an assistant for a long time before that. He's got great experience and been doing this for many, many years. So he really does a good job, and he's still fired up about it. That's what I love about him. He's got that fire, does a good job every day. Jason Roberts is back coaching our defensive line. He does a terrific job. Cody Wesley has moved to the defensive secondary. We're proud to have him. He's doing a great job. Coach David Seward is a flip-flop guy, works on both sides of the ball. He works with the secondary on defensive days, works with the running backs on offensive days. He's got double duty. He's also the head coach at Pulaski Elementary, the Mustangs.
In his spare time?
Yeah, he got youth league stuff going on. We're excited about the Pulaski Youth League, of course. But like on the offensive side, Coach Stan Andrews is back with us. Sarge, been with us for a long time. Coach Dean Wilkes is back. Thankfully, Dean had an injury last year and missed most of the year, and we missed him. And we're glad to have him back coaching on the offensive line. Coach Stephen Godby is back with us. We're glad to have Coach Godby back. He's not really assigned to a position. He's working with all the linemen and working as a consultant in some ways and doing just a great job there.
That's a scary thought, by the way.
I'll tell you what else. We got two new guys, too, that we're thrilled about, two young guys that played here not long ago. People remember Jake New, Matty Hendricks were outstanding players. Both of them went to Lindsey Wilson College and played a short time over there. Matt has been hired as our offensive assistant, if you will, and Jake's a defensive assistant, and they're coaching the JV team. And we're excited about that. Let me tell you why. For many, many years, we've really not had coaches specifically assigned to those young players. Now, they still get coached. They get coached every day in practice by that position coach, and they're worked into all the drills. But to have somebody to really focus on that group so that we have some time when we get into team period, we call it, in practice, we're able to take those young guys over on the other field, and we got coaches that go over and coach them, and they're doing a great job. And so that's going to pay off not only this season that you'll see it in the JV league, but down the road. When these young guys start to grow up as sophomores, juniors, they're going to be ready to play much sooner. They're going to be ingrained into our system, and I'm excited about what those guys are doing. Thrilled to have them. Glad to have Miss Katie Jackson back, team trainer again. She does a great job for us. We're glad to have Gordy Prather is our team chaplain. Glad to have him. Dr. Pace is back in town.
Yes,
Dr. Jenkins are back with us, our medical staff, and we couldn't do it without those guys. And so many people behind the scenes. I mentioned Mr. McInich and Coach Miller and everybody at school, and we certainly appreciate our faculty and staff that come out to the games and have the tailgates down there under the scoreboard and get loud and rowdy, and it's a fun time. Football at County High is a fun time.
We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings. I'm Paul Wright. He's Pulaski County Coach Johnny Hines, and we'll be here another 10 minutes or so. Take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be back. I'll give you some information on that in a few minutes. Let's talk about the schedule. And you talk about the fact that front seven is extremely small, And what do you do but schedule a trip to play Belfry at Belfry first week of the season, and all they're going to do is line up and try to run over you?
Well, again, COVID summer, it's been ridiculous all the way around. There are a lot of teams out there that are canceling games because they didn't think they had enough practice. And
right.
Throughout the summer, as a coaches association, we worked tirelessly together throughout the state with the football coaches to have a plan in place. When the KSHA said, okay, here's what we're going to go with, we were ready to go. We knew we could go in 3 weeks. That was the plan. That's where that timeline came from. And for coaches to come up now and say, well, we didn't have enough practice time, that's just malarkey. And it bothers me. And we got coaches canceling games. And you're doing your team wrong if that's what you're doing, is what I think. And it just not getting after anybody, but it's just my opinion. But, we were going to play Belfry in the Don Franklin Bowl.
Yes.
To start it off, those 3 games, the early 3 games got canceled. So it just worked out. We were supposed to play Henry Clay. We were going to pick up in week 4.
Right.
We were going to play at Henry Clay. And they're one of those teams that said they didn't have enough practice. They canceled. We don't have to – they can't enforce the contract because of if you got a COVID excuse, it's all out the door. And there are teams all over the state canceling games, and it's frustrating because you're a coach and you're a paid professional and you're there to take care of those kids, and that's what you need to be doing, and it frustrates me that people are not. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, I hate to.
Belfry's a really good football team, and we're going to find out if we're any good or not.
I hate to pick on people, but Henry Clay didn't have enough practices last year either.
Well,
before they played you. But Belfry is. That's all I'm going to say. But now Belfry is. I mean, you know what they are.
One of the best teams in the state every year. 6 or 7 time state champion. I'm not sure. I probably got that wrong. Been in the state championship game many, many times, and they're favored to win it again this year in 3A. Outstanding team, great culture up there, the community and everybody behind the team. The greatest coach in the history of Kentucky high school football, and Coach Philip Haywood, and I say that with all due respect. Great man, great respect. He's the type of coach that all of us dream of being, and it's an honor to be on the same field with him Friday night. It really is for me. And, we're excited. It's an opportunity to go play a great team in their stadium and their ballpark and in front of their fans, and let's see what we got.
Don't they have a new field?
Brand new turf surface.
You'll get to break that in.
First game ever. Beautiful stadium. They do things right in Belfry. They're all about football.
They are. They really are.
And it's a great opportunity for us.
What's after that? I know you had a lot of home games scheduled, and when I got to looking at what you have now, they're gone.
COVID summer, it's a frustrating thing. One note we will make, I hope everybody, all the Maroon Nation is listening, our game next week with Madison Southern has been changed to Saturday afternoon.
Right.
1 p.m. kickoff at Madison Southern, and that's their doing, not ours. Sorry.
Right.
Please don't be mad. But make plans to come on up there and enjoy it. We've been checking on weather, and it looks like it's going to be in the 70s. It's going to be a gorgeous day. Yeah. Great Saturday afternoon atmosphere up there against Madison Southern. Of course, we go way back. Everybody knows all about our rivalry with them, so we're excited about that. And then after that, we fall into district play, and we'll finally get a home game. Whitley County is our first district opponent. They're going to be much better this year. They roll into PC Stadium that third week, and that's going to be senior night, by the way. We're going to do it first. We want to honor our seniors, so folks get ready for that. We're excited about that. Then we go back on the road to South Laurel, which is a place that's always a tough place for us to play. South's going to be much improved. They're a dynamic team. Burdine, I can't remember his first name. I think it's Dylan. Dylan, the boy, the quarterback.
Oh, Dylan, yeah.
Explosive player that we got to deal with. He's very good. And then we'll have North Laurel at home. This is one of the best teams North Laurel's had in a long, long time. So, everybody in the district's tough. And then, of course, we finish the district with Southwestern, and they're favored to win the district.
Sure.
So, tough way to go. We're going to finish the regular season outside the district with Wayne County and a guy named Braden Sloan, who's probably the best running back in this part of the state. I'm not sure if he's not the best one in the state.
I thought he was last year.
He's awful dang good, and so we got to deal with him. And then
and the quarterback.
Yes,
Weaver.
Mm-hmm. Young Weaver. He had a brother that was awesome. Played a couple years ago, and those guys are dynamite. So Wayne County's going to be really, really good, and tough schedule, very tough schedule. 9 games, and I left one out. I apologize. We had an open date originally. Well, when all the COVID stuff happened, 3 games got canceled. We're starting late, all that stuff. We were able to pick one up in the open date, and we picked up East Jessamine, which is a nice move, Hines. They're in the region championship last year as well.
I always worry about you.
They were the number one rushing team in the state.
Oh,
well,
good.
you know, for years, Paul, they said, well, Pulaski don't play anybody. Where are those people now, by the way? Anyway, we're going to East Jessamine the week before we play Southwestern. So tough schedule, but I think our kids are up to it. They're just excited about playing football again and ready to go.
Let's talk about this district a little more. You mentioned Whitley County. Over there last year, it was a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And you always struggle at South Laurel. I don't care if who's real good, who's real bad. You teams always battle.
It's been an albatross for us over the
and
years.
You said North
We've
Laurel.
found ways to win more than we've lost, so
Yes.
we're thankful. But you're right. We got to find a way to play better over there. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to break our routine somehow. But, we got to bring it better when we go to South Laurel.
You talk about North Laurel being better, and, of course, you know what scheme and what have you they're going to run, and then Southwestern, the defending district champions, and they're going to be Southwestern again. So there aren't any breathers in that bunch at all.
There's not at all. And I left one out. I didn't have my schedule in front of me. I apologize for that. But now running back over it mentally, I left out Tates Creek. We got to go to Tates Creek, the last regular season game before we play Wayne County. And up in Lexington, big 6A school. And to be quite honest with you, we're a little extra fired up about that. That's why that just popped up in my mind again. They came down here and embarrassed us last year, and so we ain't forgot that one. So we're going back to Tates Creek. But you're right, back to the district, I think it's very strong. I don't think there's anybody in the district that you can look at and say, well, that's an easy win. We can relax. There's no one like that.
No.
You got to bring your A game every time. You got to play your best game, and you got to play well. You got to play well. You can't just go out and play hard and expect to be in the game because there's too many athletes. Southwestern's loaded with athletes. That game can get away from you really quick. North Laurel, as I said, got the best team they've had in several years. South Laurel always has explosive athletes, and it's a tough place to go and play for whatever reason. We got to overcome that. And Whitley County, I look to be probably as improved as anybody in the district. So
they'd improved quite a bit anyway.
Yeah, tough rounds.
It is. You talked about Tates Creek. Of course, we saw Bo Allen in Lexington Catholic a year ago. When I saw him, I thought Tates Creek quarterback last year was every bit as good as that. I did.
He looked awful good against us. We didn't do a very good job with him. And I think he went somewhere in the Ivy League, if I'm not mistaken. Went to Princeton or somewhere. So good luck to that young man. I don't even remember his name, but he was a great player. And they had some nice receivers as well.
But I thought he was the best quarterback. And again, Sloan is he's really, really good.
We knew he was good last year going into that game, of course, and we knew we had to plan for him. But he exceeded expectations, and he's going to be super this year. Senior year. Here he comes. I think he's already committed or he may not be committed. He's been offered by Eastern Kentucky, and I think that's kind of his favorite, from what I'm told. But I could see him playing at EKU and be a very good running back for Eastern Kentucky. He's strong. He's fast. He breaks tackles well. He's able to slip just slightly and get a break a tackle and make a long run. So I think he's the best one we'll see.
3 home games. I don't know how you do it. You can have 4 home games and be scheduled for 6 or 7 the next year, and I get the schedule and it's 3 home games. And you went through the schedule. We kind of jumbled.
Well, you remember. If we had the season from the very beginning, we had 4 home games in a row, including the Don Franklin Bowl, and then we were going to end up with 6, and that was great. And then they cut 3 of them out. We lost them. We finally got Wayne County back. We got Henry Clay. That's supposed to be a home game, and they balked on us, and then we got to go on the road. COVID summer.
Excuses.
COVID summer. I'm ready to get this COVID out of here.
But we'll keep you up to date with the schedule on North Cumberland Sports as we always do. What you need to remember right now is Belfry on Friday night, and a week from Saturday at Madison 7.
1 o'clock.
You keep those 2, and life will be good.
That's right.
Let's talk about some of the hurdles. And we've talked about it a little bit, but how difficult has this off season been?
It's been extremely difficult. The day we shut down school back in March, which was March 16th,
right,
was the day we were supposed to take the field for spring practice, first day. And that's when the shutdown happened.
Right.
And, of course, it never went back to school.
Right.
And ain't been back yet. We're still on virtual. So all of that time was gone. That's time in the weight room. That's spring practice. summer mini camp gone. We were able to start conditioning in June, conditioning only,
Right.
which we did, and I'm so proud of our kids. They come. Let me tell you something about our kids and everybody the same way, Paul, I've told everybody that would listen to this. You know, when you're a teenager, and you remember, you and I were too, your whole life is school and ball.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they've had their life taken away back in March. And so they're thrilled to have something that's
Right,
somewhat
right.
normal. So they're excited. They showed up every day. They worked hard in conditioning, and they were excited about getting into practice and getting pads on. And they're excited about playing. They're thrilled. You know, they show up every day and give us all they got, and we can't ask any more from that. So we're tickled with the attitude, the desire, the work ethic. We're not tickled with all the COVID stuff,
Right.
but it is what it is. We're dealing with it, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to keep our kids safe. We're not going to put them in positions to, dangerous position in any way. So, hey, this Friday can't get here quick enough.
I don't believe people understand, people that are on the fringes or people that don't pay attention, I don't believe they realize just how important football is in the grand scheme of things at all levels.
It is. It is.
It's a microcosm of society to an extent.
It is. And you know, especially to kids that are so devoted to it, it means so much to them. And, you got a lot of kids, quite frankly, that the reason they're motivated to go to school and do well in school is because of their sport.
Sure.
And people don't like to hear that, but it is a reality.
Yeah, it
it's
is
very true. And so it's a plus. It's a plus to the community. You know, kudos to the NFL, to the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, the ones that are playing. Kudos to high school coaches that have battled and are playing football this fall, because at least football is bringing some sense of normalcy back in some way. And hopefully we're going to get back to school real quick and get in school and get back to some kind of normal life. And that's what we're all about. That's what the passion of our kids are all about. And so, hey, hallelujah to everybody involved in football for hanging in there and making it what it is.
This is our preseason look at football. He's Pulaski County Coach Johnny Hines. I am Paul Wright. We are going to take a break and sanitize everything and get out of the way. And Chris Staten will be here with Somerset coach Robbie Lucas, and we'll finish up. And we will be talking to you all season long.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate Buffalo Wings and Rings, and appreciate all the folks that put this on, LakeCumberlandSports.com and all those guys. And, I understand Somerset's up, and they wanted them last so they can make a presentation to them about winning that state championship.
Sure.
And congratulations. I'm proud of them. I can't wait till they make it to us.
From Buffalo Wings and Rings, we'll be back shortly.